It's called Aliyah, Hebrew for going up, or immigrating to Israel. That's what Neil Brin and his family did just 3 weeks after he completed 20 years in the U.S. Navy.
The highest position I had was the commanding officer of the U.S. warship. I was the commanding officer of the USS Carter Hall, which was an amphibious ship about 200 meters long.
Brin, his wife Shoshana, and 4 young children now live in this religious neighborhood of Jerusalem. Some might say they gave up a lot to live here, but they say they're home. Brin spent his summer accompanying his 4-year-old twins to school on the public bus because they don't have a car. Well, sort of.
We do have a car. It's got 4 wheels, all right? It's got 1 seat. Only one person can sit in it, and that's Yudi, who's 5 months old. The propulsion system is human legs attached to arms. It's a stroller. That's our car. It holds everything we need if we need to go shopping, and we can take it everywhere, even up the steps.
About 8 years ago, Brin's life took on major changes. He became more religious, met Shoshana, and married. They knew they would come to Israel at some point, just not when.
We didn't know if I'd stay in the Navy for 20 years or for 30 years. If I stayed in 30 years, I'd make 2.4 more times retirement pay every month. It's a tremendous difference. But the trade-off is, this is where we want to live. This is our home. This is where we feel Evergy needs to be. And our children will learn the language so much better at the ages of between 5 months, 3.5, and our twins who were 4, than if it was 10 years later.
They've faced other adjustments as well.
I'm a little bit astounded about how litter appears to be accepted, commonplace, and even not just tolerated, but applauded, it appears to me. So I've organized a weekly cleaning project, and we do that every Friday.
He got the idea from the time he was the executive officer of a ship.
The idea of doing it, calling it Our Power, is something I got from my old ship when I was captain of the USS Carter Hall. And I'm hoping this will be a habit that stays and can really clean the space up. We go from just picking litter to maybe actually cleaning. I mean, these stone stairs could look like clean stone as opposed to, stone with weeds here and dirt here. Now I'd have to say, bypass the dirt, let's pick up the spoon instead. But eventually we can really have a neighborhood that shines.
So why would they give up life in America?
I can't tell you why some people would move, but I can tell you why a Jew would. Because we have a national anthem called Hatikva, and it says in that, which means the hope, and it says in Hatikva that as long as the heart of the Jew beats, I don't know that I can quote it exactly, but as long as the heart of the Jew beats, this 2,000-year dream is just finally being realized.
The mission of the organization is to facilitate any individual who has this dream, who has this yearning, who wants to move and build their future here in Israel and contribute to Israeli society.
Rabbi Yehoshua Faz and his organization Nefesh B'Nefesh helped make the dream become reality for Brin and his family.
We have this modern-day miracle of the state of Israel that is just unfathomable. It's fantasy stuff. The 2,000 years of wandering and dreaming, and all of a sudden you can get on a plane and change your status and become a citizen of this country. It's incredible.
223 North American immigrants arrived on a flight weeks after Brin, including 75 young people who came to join the Israel Defense Forces, the IDF. One of them was Nefesh B'Nefesh's immigrant number 50,000, Rebecca Glanzer from Brooklyn, New York.
There's a feeling of belonging here that you really don't have anywhere else, and I just couldn't see myself spending the rest of my life in any other place, so I'm here. IDF service is part of what makes Israel such a united country and what makes everyone feel like it's really their own, so I didn't feel like I could make Aliyah without participating and contributing in that way.
Different reasons brought these newcomers to Israel.
It's something I've dreamed about doing since I was 7 years old. I think Israel has a right to be a country, and I want to do what I can to make sure that it stays a country as long as possible.
I went to Poland and I saw the concentration camps, I saw the ghettos, and it was that became so much more real to me. And my purpose for coming to the Army, I think, is that I want to help protect the one place that I know, God forbid it ever happens, there's a place that's safe for the Jewish people.
But Tammy and Gene Berman from Washington, D.C., who decided to retire here, summed up the reason for coming home.
It's our destiny. We're Jewish. America's wonderful, fantastic country. I love it. My parents were immigrants to America, but we're visitors there. We belong here.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.